Today's presentation is a literature review of understanding and addressing Alex. Today's presentation is by Edmond, myself, Zainab, layal, and Jovan.
We would like to begin with an acknowledgement of country. I would like to acknowledge that we are here today conducting our presentation on the traditional lands of the Darug people, the traditional custodians of this land. I pay my respects to elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who live here today.
Hi everyone, I'm layal and I'll be starting by unpacking the key academic and motivational issues affecting Alex. So at first, Alex did really well with explicit teaching. Krishna says that clear step-by-step instruction is great for no-voice learners because it builds strong foundational knowledge, and that's exactly how Alex started, confident and engaged. But as the year went on, the same instruction was just repeated. Sweller's redundancy effect explains this perfectly. When students get too much unnecessary guidance after they've already mastered the content, it leads to cognitive overload and boredom. So Alex started switching off, his motivation dropped, and so did his belief that he could succeed on his own. Now let's talk about self-efficacy, which is basically Alex's belief in his own ability to learn. Skunk and DiBuento say that students with high self-efficacy are more likely to take on challenges and stick with difficult tasks. But Alex never got the chance to succeed independently. Without that, his confidence took a hit. Then there's the issue of autonomy. Desi and Ryan saying that students need meaningful choice and challenge to feel intrinsically motivated. In Alex's case, everything was overguided. He wasn't given ownership over his learning, and that completely killed his motivation. Just to the right, you'll see a graph we made showing how Alex's motivation declined over time. You can see a clear mid-year drop, which matches what research tells us. When students feel stuck, unsupported, or bored, they stop believing in themselves. To end this slide, I've added a quote by Skunk and DiBuento that says, learners who feel efficacious about learning are up to engage in cognitive and behavioral activities that improve their learning, such as setting goals, using effective learning strategies, monitoring and evaluating their goal progress. This is exactly what we see in Alex. Without belief in himself, his learning habits collapsed. Okay, now let's talk about the emotional side. Alex's experience of online bullying had a huge impact on his confidence and sense of safety at school. Winsor and Wingfield found that when students feel excluded or targeted by their peers, their motivation to engage in school drops big time. That's exactly what we've seen with Alex. He's withdrawn both socially and academically. They also say that younger students are especially vulnerable to peer rejection because they're still developing a sense of identity and belonging. For Alex, that rejection hit at a time when he was already disengaging in class, making things worse. On top of that, his classroom environment didn't support him emotionally. Reeve and Cheon say that autonomy supportive teaching, giving students a say in their learning, and respecting their perspective is a key for motivational learning. But Alex had no voice. He wasn't just ignored academically, he was emotionally isolated as well. So any support plan for Alex can't just focus on learning strategies. It needs to restore his confidence, help him rebuild positive peer relationships, and make school feel like a safe space again. I've added some icons here to represent this. A fading figure, a broken link, a sad-facing class, and a shield. These represent emotional withdrawal, disconnection from peers, the sadness of exclusion, and the need to rebuild psychological safety. Finally, I brought back a Cheon quote used in one of my partner's essays that says, a key source of intrinsic motivation is the need for autonomy. Teachers may do this in two primary ways: invite students to pursue their personal interests and present learning activities in need-satisfying ways.
In the vignette, we can clearly see that Alex is being exposed to an explicit teaching approach in which he had initial success in the first half of the year. Alex has thrived on this teaching approach as the clear and direct instructions enabled him to learn the scientific knowledge and procedures. He understood the benefits of information being presented, and his high level of understanding was evidenced by his exceptional assessment results. However, in the vignette, it says that Alex reveals that he is finding it hard to maintain attention because the teacher is providing step-by-step instructions for tasks they have already mastered, leading to redundancy effects. This supports Sweller's theory of repeated instruction causing cognitive overload and boredom, which is called redundancy effects. We can conclude that explicit teaching is not applicable to Alex anymore, and has exposed him to rote learning. This means that he is getting a lot of information thrown at him, leading to cognitive overload and disengagement, which has detrimentally affected his academic performance. Another reason for Alex's decline in performance is due to his motivation being low. His intrinsic motivation comes from his love and interest in the subject, evidenced by his friends stating that his passion for environmental science governs his personality, values, and identity. As seen in the literature review, Reeve and Shion state that the key source for intrinsic motivation is the need for autonomy. This does not align with the philosophy of explicit teaching, but rather follows an inquiry-based learning approach which fosters creativity and independent/autonomous thinking. Alex's self-efficacy is clearly affected as he is doubting his abilities to do well, causing poor performance and engagement in the classroom activities. Alex has low self-efficacy due to the negative social persuasion and his psychological/emotional state being low. The bullying mentioned by his friends would certainly be a major reason for this low self-efficacy, as this is directly impacting his performance in the classroom and adding to the pressures caused by explicit teaching on Alex's learning. The relationship of self-efficacy to learning, psychological state, and motivation is clearly interlinked, as once one of these is affected, it can cause significant changes in the others. For example, by Alex being bullied, his self-efficacy drops, which negatively impacts his academic performance and psychological state. Wenzel and Wingfield support this, as they stated that when students feel excluded or targeted by their peers, their motivation to engage in school drops significantly. Therefore, we can conclude that modification in pedagogical practices are needed in order to improve Alex's academic performance and motivation whilst addressing social challenges he is experiencing, particularly bullying. This can be done from shifting from an explicit approach to an inquiry-based teaching approach.
In addressing the challenges faced by Alex in terms of learning motivation and bullying, it is crucial to implement pedagogical strategies. The strategies proposed below aim to improve Alex's engagement while learning while also mitigating the effects of bullying, focusing on fostering a supportive, inclusive, and motivating environment. Positive reinforcement and feedback is a strategy that involves consistent positive reinforcement, such as praise for effort and achievement, can significantly boost Alex's intrinsic motivation. Providing constructive feedback helps students understand their strengths and areas for growth, while reinforcing positive behavior fosters a growth mindset. According to Hattie, feedback that focuses on effort rather than innate ability fosters a growth mindset and enhances motivation. Positive reinforcement can help Alex build confidence and resilience, making it more likely that they will remain engaged with their studies. Teachers can use specific praise to acknowledge Alex's efforts and progress, rather than only rewarding his results. For example, praising Alex for the constant persistence on a challenging task can encourage continued effort and engagement. Restorative practices is another proposal that would be effective for Alex. It focuses on building relationships, repairing harm, and fostering empathy among students. In the context of bullying, restorative practices can create a space for both the victim and perpetrator to communicate openly, understand the impact of their actions, and restore trust within the school community. Studies by Lodi examine that restorative practices have been shown to reduce incidents of bullying as they encourage empathy, understanding, and conflict resolution. These practices help students like Alex feel safe and supported, reducing the emotional toll of bullying while promoting a culture of respect. Teachers can facilitate restorative circles where students discuss their feelings and experiences in a guided, safe environment. In addition, teachers can conduct regular check-ins with Alex to provide emotional support and ensure that bullying issue is addressed in a meaningful way. The final strategy is SEL, Social Emotional Learning Programs. These help students develop emotional intelligence, self-awareness, and coping strategies. These programs are crucial for students like Alex who may struggle with the emotional effects of bullying. SEL teaches essential skills such as empathy, emotional regulation, and social awareness, which can improve both motivation and resilience against bullying. Studies by Durlach show that SEL programs not only improve students' social and emotional skills, but also enhance academic performance. Students who develop stronger emotional regulation and coping mechanisms are more likely to stay engaged in learning and feel more supported in challenging situations. Schools can incorporate SEL into daily routines through activities like journaling, group discussions, and mindfulness exercises. Regular SEL lessons can help Alex feel more confident in navigating social interactions and managing emotional challenges associated with bullying. In conclusion, by implementing these evidence based strategies, educators can create a supportive and motivating learning environment for Alex, addressing both their learning, motivation, and the challenges associated with bullying. To address challenges like low learning motivation and bullying, teachers can implement creative strategies that are easy to use in any subject area. These innovations not only enhance engagement but also foster empathy and positive classroom dynamics. The first innovation, gamified learning challenges with SEL themes, allows teachers to create class-wide challenges where students can earn points or badges for teamwork, showing kindness, or completing tasks. For example, math problems, writing tasks, or science projects can include collaboration, points, or kindness bonuses where students help each other or solve disputes positively. Cole, Doherty, and Shari found that gamified environments help students develop emotional skills while staying motivated. This makes lessons feel like a team game, reducing bullying by encouraging positive peer interactions. The next innovation is simple VR or video role plays to build empathy. Teachers can use accessible tools like YouTube 360-degree videos or basic VR apps that stimulate bullying situations from the victim's perspective. If technology is limited, role playing in classrooms can be used where students reflect on how it feels to be in different roles in a bullying situation. Herrera showed that VR experiences make students more empathetic and less likely to engage in bullying. Even simple role plays, according to some principles, can have strong emotional and educational effects. The final innovation is flipped inquiry tasks with student voice. Teachers can assign short videos or readings as homework and use classroom time for student driven projects. Students can choose topics, e.g., anti bullying, posters, podcasts, or debates related to the subject and present solutions to real world issues like bullying. Bergman and Sams emphasize that flipped classrooms promote engagement, while Ryan and Desi highlight that choice and voice in projects build intrinsic motivation. Allowing students to pick topics that matter to them helps them feel heard and connected. In conclusion, these are easy to apply strategies in a classroom. Gamification, empathy building role plays, and flipped inquiry with student choice are innovative but yet practical. They require minimal resources but can have a big impact on students' motivation, empathy, and sense of belonging, all of which help reduce bullying and disengagement across subjects.
Our next focus is the collaborative plan, supporting Alex in regaining his passion for earth and environmental sciences while also addressing the online bullying that he has been experiencing. This plan forms a line of communication between teachers, parents, and peers to enhance his academic growth and his overall well-being. In the collaborative process, Alex's year advisor will have a candid conversation with him regarding his goals in the classroom and his learning style and preferences, leading to a meeting between Alex's year advisor, the learning and support coordinator, and Alex's parents, where a targeted support plan for Alex will be implemented moving forward. The plan introduces a shift towards inquiry based learning, using open ended projects tailored to Alex's passion to help support his self paced learning goals. Staff that he interacts with regularly will submit fortnightly progress checks and attend monthly meetings alongside his parents to track his progress and to allow adaptation towards strategies if need be. Parental involvement is essential. As part of the collaborative process, we will hear from the school counsellor about strategies Alex's parents can use at home as they play a pivotal role as his support system away from school, alongside encouraging open communication, particularly surrounding online safety. Lastly, to support his social well-being, peer connections between students who share his interest or an after-school club centered around environmental science will have a positive effect on his overall well-being. As Alex's teachers, our roles are to develop and implement targeted support plans to promote higher self-efficiency in his learning. For Alex, this links to shifting towards inquiry-based learning. Replacing step-by-step instruction with self-paced learning strategies will help promote deeper engagement and intrinsic motivation. A strategy that we will include in his targeted support plan will be a choice board for Alex. This self-paced tool will align with his interests, linking activities to Bloom's taxonomy to promote higher order thinking and challenge. Another key focus is addressing cyberbullying. Students will receive term-based segments focused on online bullying and its long-lasting effects to raise awareness, delivered by student support officers and external providers such as PCYC. All staff members will undergo trauma-informed training to ensure they are prepared to support students like Alex, who have been affected by bullying. The implementation of fortnightly progress checks and monthly meetings will ensure all areas of Alex's educational and social needs are being met, or whether strategies need adapting. The roles of Alex's parents are vital to combat the cyberbullying that he is enduring. It is through open communication, monitoring his online activity, and helping him report and document online bullying ensures he's provided emotional support both at home and at school. Positive peer connections who share interest or an after-school club can also boost his well-being and motivate him towards his goals, promoting higher self-efficiency in his learning and promoting positive relationships. Through our research surrounding learning strategies, pedagogical strategies, areas requiring intervention, and the action of collaborative methods, Alex's teachers, parents, and peers will focus on implementing strategies of inquiry-based learning, encouraging positive relationships and open communication. This will ensure Alex reaches higher self-efficiency and positively redirects his focus within the classroom while simultaneously eliminating the presence of bullying within his life. Thank you.